If your piggyback is a 4-way model, the configuration will be different from the standard or X models. On the 4-way models, the operator does not sit in the center of the machine, although most other functions are the same. Please review the first section of this video for job site and mounting and dismounting instructions. This section will explain the pre-shift inspection and operation of the 4-way model. When you come to start work with the piggyback, you should first take a walk around the machine. Check for any structural damage. Check the forks, the carriage, the lift chains, the mast rollers, and hydraulic cylinders for any bends, cracks, or excessive wear. Look for any missing or loose parts. Check to see that there are no foreign objects which could affect operation. Check nuts and bolts for tightness. Inspect all of the hydraulic hoses and fittings for cracks, leaks, or damage. Also, ensure that the operator's manual is present in the manual box on the machine. The front wheels on the piggyback 4-way models are equipped with counterweights to compensate for reduced stability when in 4-way mode. Check the weights on both front wheels for damage or loose bolts. Check each tire for proper inflation. Inspect the wheels for visible damage such as dents in the wheels, cuts in the tires, and missing or loose lug nuts. Once you have finished the initial walk around, lift the engine hood by pulling on the red knob located beneath the right-hand work light. Place the hood prop rod into the receptacle provided. After a general inspection, check the coolant level in the reservoir. The cap does not need to be removed to check the coolant level. Do not attempt to remove the reservoir cap if the engine is hot. The level should be at the marks on the side of the reservoir. Use the correct coolant as specified in your operator's manual if the level is low. Locate the engine oil dipstick. It may be in different locations depending on the model of your piggyback. Refer to the operator's manual for the location. Remove the dipstick and wipe it clean. Now reinsert it and remove to check the oil level, which should be between the minimum and maximum lines at the end of the dipstick. If the level is low, you need to add oil to the engine. It is critical that the engine oil is added exactly as instructed in the operator's manual. Hydraulic oil levels should be checked with the mast fully lowered and the mast carriage retracted. Look at the sight glass. The level should be between the two lines. If the level is at or below the bottom red line, add the recommended hydraulic fluid as specified in the operator's manual. The 4-way piggyback has an internal mast carriage sensor which prevents the machine from entering into 4-way mode without the mast carriage fully retracted. Check this sensor for damage, loose electrical connections, or foreign objects which could impede its operation. 4-way piggybacks with a 12-foot mast also have a lift height sensor to restrict the lifting height of the piggyback to 10 feet when it is in 4-way mode. Inspect this sensor and plate for any bends, damage, loose electrical connections, or foreign objects which could impede its operation. Piggyback 4-way models are also equipped with load supports on each side of the machine. These must be folded down prior to use when you are operating the piggyback. Each load support should be checked for cracks, bends, excessive wear, and loose or missing parts. Ensure that they can be raised and lowered smoothly and that they lock into place. Climb aboard your piggyback using the steps and handles that are provided. Always use the 3-point contact method when mounting or dismounting, with 3 of your limbs in contact with the machine at all times. Adjust and fasten your safety belt. The operator's compartment is designed to give you protection in an accident. If you do not wear your seat belt, you could be thrown out of the machine. Always ensure that the seat belt is securely fastened across your hips before you operate the forklift. Adjust the seat to fit your size. Close the side guard and ensure that it is latched securely. Check the directional pedal to ensure that it is in the neutral position. Look to see that the parking brake is on, and if it is not, engage it at this time. Ensure that there are no people nearby, and, if necessary, warn them that you are about to start the machine. Turn the key to the on position. At this point, check the fuel level by looking at the gauge on the dash. If possible, try to start each day off with a full tank of fuel. Now turn the key to the start position until the starter engages and the engine starts. Check that the warning lights on the dash have gone out and, if they have not, turn the engine off. Do not continue to operate the machine if any warning light remains on. Cycle the hydraulic controls to see that they operate freely. Check each hydraulic control before you begin to operate the machine. Raise and lower the forks. Extend and retract the mast. Tilt the mast forward and backward. Side shift the mast to the left and right. Lower and raise the stabilizer legs. If any of these controls are not working properly, do not continue to operate your machine and notify your supervisor. To check the drive controls of the machine, first release the parking brake. The right foot pedal is the accelerator pedal, which controls engine RPMs. This pedal is pressed down to increase RPMs and should be used to control the speed of the machine or hydraulic functions. The left pedal controls the forward and reverse movements of the piggyback. Press forward with your toe to move forward. Press backward with your heel to move backward. By returning the pedal to the midpoint, the piggyback will stop. The steering components should be visually inspected. During your operational checks, retract the mast and lower the forks. Shut off the engine and exit the operator compartment using the 3-point contact method. Inspect both front steering cylinders for any bends, leaks, or excessive wear. Check hoses for cracks, leaks, or damage. Re-enter the operator compartment using the 3-point contact method. Fasten your safety belt, close your side guard, and start the engine. You will now check the functionality of the 4-way features. To engage the 4-way mode of the piggyback, with the forklift running, first retract the mast completely. Ensure that the forks are high enough to clear the front tires. Apply the parking brake. Press the 4-way switch on the dash to engage 4-way mode. Press the red mode button and hold. The rear wheel will turn to a locked position. Continue holding the red button until the front wheels have turned to a 90-degree position, then release the button. Disengage the parking brake using the switch. While the machine is in 4-way mode, the backup alarm will sound continuously. If your piggyback has a 12-foot mast, raise the mast to ensure that the lift height sensor stops the mast from fully raising. Then lower the forks back to approximately frame level. When in 4-way mode, it is important to use extra caution to compensate for reduced stability. Be sure to travel smoothly to avoid abrupt movements. When the directional pedal is pressed forward, the machine will move towards the operator's right. When the pedal is depressed rearward, the piggyback will move towards the operator's left. The steering wheel will move the front tires, allowing the operator to steer the machine while driving laterally. Care should be taken when driving in 4-way mode, and you should return to standard mode as soon as possible. To return the piggyback to standard mode, stop the machine. Apply the parking brake. Press the 4-way switch to disengage 4-way mode. Press and hold the red mode button until the front wheels turn to a straight position. Continue holding the button until the rear wheel has turned to a straight ahead position. The backup alarm should cease sounding once the machine is back in standard mode. Extend the mast fully forward and lower the forks as low as possible. You have now completed the 4-way operational checks. Engaging the diff lock gives you equal, positive drive to all 3 wheels of the piggyback. Use the diff lock if one or more of the wheels lose traction while traveling through soft or slippery conditions. Also use the diff lock to maintain traction while traveling up slopes and to improve braking and traction when reversing downhill. The diff lock should only be used when traveling in a straight line and turned off once the obstacle has been cleared. To engage the diff lock, first stop the piggyback. Ensure that the rear wheel is straight ahead. Engage the diff lock using the switch on the dash. All 3 wheels will now have equal drive. When you no longer require the diff lock, simply push the switch to the off position.